Welcome, guys, to the Adoptology podcast. Today, here I have my dad with me. What's up, Dad? Say what's up.
What's up? Hey, we got
Welcome
matching
back.
cups today.
Hey, UMHB is hurt. We twinning. We're gonna have a conversation. Fathers and sons don't have enough. And before we get into it, Dad, how you doing? How is work going so far?
It's going. Work is going, which is good. It's job security.
Is job security? That's what you're doing?
If work is going, it's job security.
That is good. That is true.
How's school going for you?
School's going great this year. This is like these. What week is this? The fourth week? Going good. I got all A's, and it's just crazy. Usually I don't have all A's past the first week. But I have another essay due this weekend, which is going to be really
Yeah,
smooth.
but you're locked in, so.
We locked in. We are staying on top of these classes. My classes are great. People around here are great. So we chilling, having a great time over here.
You're pushing
My sisters
P.
don't. Yes, I'm pushing P. Also, my sisters do not want to see me for some reason. They're always so busy with their boyfriends. So
Isn't
they never
that
make
rude?
time for me. I asked one of them, I sent her the group chat the other day. I was like, can we go play pickleball? Something I would never say. Nobody responded for like an hour or two. I'm like, hello? They're like, oh, can we do it tomorrow? I'm like, whoa. They're driving me up the wall. Because we still haven't eaten together. Yes.
And you live in the same building.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's something that has to do with hate. Or they're hating or something.
No,
I think they're tripping. All right, here
I
we
think
go.
you're tripping. Look at what your camera's doing.
Well, the camera's tripping, not me tripping. All right, okay. So, guys, the topic today is the conversation fathers and sons don't have enough. Let's just dive into it. You know what I'm saying? So we always say we good, Dad, but what does that actually mean to you?
When you say we good,
Yeah, we good.
we good.
Oh, there we go.
Or when we say we good, I think our relationship is hitting on all points that there's nothing for us to have to, discuss. Everything's good. Everything's good.
Yeah.
What do you think it means?
I mean, the same thing. If I say I'm good, we good, but there is deeper stuff like that because there's a lot of people out there and a lot of situation where we's good does not mean we's good. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we're here to dive into.
We ain't going to get into the beef right now.
Yeah, we ain't going to get into beef right now. It can be like that too. So that's what this whole episode is about, is diving into these kind of conversations, to the deeper side of everything. And what's one thing we never talk about growing up that maybe we should have? What do you think that is? I feel like we're probably talking about all of it right now, but like what's something we didn't start talking about way later on than we should have?
That's a really good question. I've tried to think about this question before we got onto the interview, and I don't feel like we're a family that just doesn't talk about things. I don't feel like there's something that we haven't talked about. We always approach the hard conversations whenever we can because we don't want to sit in those awkward times where we're not having those hard conversations. It's hard to answer that question because I feel like we've talked about everything we need to talk about as you were growing up at the right times, of course, but I don't feel like we missed out on anything like that. Do you?
No, I think we're good because we did hit those hard questions and hard situations with the urgency and importance it needed when it happened. We didn't really push anything into the rest, so I think that it was really helpful for us. But in the meantime, we gotta know that it's not the same for every family and everybody. So a lot of people are not good at hitting those things. We weren't good either with hitting everything, but we did everything. But we made sure we gave importance to it and learning and figuring it out. And that's what we're here to talk about, is learning how to hit those hard things, hard situations with the importance and urgency that it hits even when you don't know what you're doing, because you will figure it out along the way. But we're going to talk about that.
For sure. Well, let's talk about things that maybe weren't said as you were growing up. Yeah. Was there ever a time that you wanted to open up to me but didn't?
Let me see. There's probably a few things. There's definitely a few things over the years. But there was a lot of little stuff from like when I used to break a lot of stuff. And I wouldn't talk about all the breaking stuff or like something that would happen that you would hear from your teacher later on. So you didn't have to hear it from me. So there would be situations like that. That was mostly what was it up for me, because I feel like all the bigger things that happened, I would immediately come to you about it, to mom and dad, to you and mom about. So it was easier to have those conversations because we were raised like that, to always talk about those things we didn't understand or didn't know how to do, or the feelings that we were having.
In those times, what stopped you? What stopped you from bringing up the things that maybe we could have?
I feel like it would be that you weren't ready to hear it. You know what I'm saying? Like you weren't ready to hear it, or like you were, or like the emotion or the reaction I need from you, it was not what I was expecting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like it would be It would be something like, imagine if I'm like, if I'm really feeling deeply about a girl or about a situation, about a friend, like a reaction I want you to have is to give me advice. Now, oh, it's just like a fling, it's just a thing, you know what I'm saying? But we never had those situations. So it would be like, for me, it's like, it's always, my hesitation has always been like, how would they react? How would you react? How would you take it? What would you do with that information? Would I be disciplined? Would I be brushed off? Would my feelings be invalidated? You know what I'm saying? But we were never really went into those problems. I feel like we all grew. Like, I feel like no, emotional and mental health wasn't as very important at the beginning when I first got there. It wasn't important to anybody until we started seeing the implications of that not being important over the years. So for the past like decade, that was the thing that we all really we really hit really hard with everybody in our family. I think Grace and Faith that did not go to therapy for something, but it was just like we
They
were
probably should.
all. They probably should. Boy, they gonna need to if they keep annoying me. But yeah, so we did grew into that as a family, and that it was easier to talk because we were always so vulnerable with each other about the hard and easy things.
Yeah, for sure.
But did you ever feel like I didn't trust you as a dad or as a white man raising a black son?
I never felt like that you didn't trust me. I felt like you always trusted me. I didn't ever feel like trust was a hard part of that relationship. I do feel like there were times where maybe you didn't feel like I got you
Yeah,
and understanding, like maybe it was understanding a cultural thing, whether it was your Haitian cultural thing or whether it's a black or a white thing. I
yeah,
think there were times that you were like, you just don't understand or you just don't get it. And you would be 100% right in that
yeah,
process. But I never felt like that was a breach of trust between us. I felt like there's
mm,
always been that strong level of trust in our relationship through the hard times and through the good times.
yeah. That makes sense. I could agree with that too, because like there's a lot of stuff I don't know, and the only way I would like, and I've never been a kid that held stuff in. The only stuff I would ever keep in is the stuff I did not understand or know that was bothering me. Like, we talk about PTSD. I didn't know I had all of those things. I don't know, because for me it was all smiles, but I didn't know what was happening in the door to my body. I didn't know why I couldn't sleep. I don't know why I was peeing in the bed.
Yeah.
So like for me,
Yeah.
it's always been about the reason I don't talk about things is because I don't understand it or I don't know it's happening to me or I don't know it's
Right.
a problem. So I've always been one of the person to always speak my mind all the time unless I just simply don't know. You know?
So, with that being said, what did being adopted make harder to say out loud to me?
Well, I don't know if I can answer this question because I don't. I don't know. I don't think I've ever had that problem. You know what I'm saying? I never had a problem saying anything crazy, like saying anything out loud. I'm trying to think. I'm gonna sit here and think for a second. Like I said before, I just literally said everything off the rip. At that point, you guys did the very hard job of training me to not say certain things in certain places. So that was my struggle. Is like there's a time and place for everything that needs to be said. Like I spoke to mom on the last podcast. It's like I used to go around saying the word hell because I heard it from a movie and I heard it from a show all the time, and I would say around a public setting, and I had to learn that you can't say those words. There's certain words you can't say. So for me, it was learning about that. My words have a way bigger impact than I thought. So I've always been a person to say the first thing off the tip of my tongue, whether I knew a lot about it or not. And I've learned to control that because over the year recently, I've learned that I have a lot of credibility and I did not know that. So when I say something, whether it's factual or not, people will take it to heart. So I've learned to, learn what I'm like to spend time alone and learn what I'm thinking, comes to terms with it, and then say it out loud when I'm ready. But
Yeah, I mean, you come from a completely different culture altogether. I mean, you spent the first 10 years of your life in a completely different country,
mhm,
speaking 2 different languages that were not English, and then learning English on the side, and so figuring out what is culturally acceptable and what is not culturally acceptable is always a difficult challenge for any international,
yeah,
student or child coming into a family. I think also that coming out of the Haitian culture into the American culture, that was
yeah,
completely different. Black culture in Haiti is different culturally than American Black culture.
yeah.
White culture in Haiti is different than white culture in America. And
Yeah,
then
we
when
think
we
all of
have
y'all are rich.
a diverse
Yeah.
family like we have, those cultures are all of our cultures are mixed together. I've got Native American culture that fights
Hmm.
in that mix as well. And so trying to figure out how to raise each other because you were raising us as adoptive parents,
Yeah.
early on, you said, "I chose y'all. I adopted y'all." I don't know if you remember that, but you were kinda raising us as parents, and we were raising you as an adopted child, and at the same time, trying to figure out all those cultural differences. Even to this day, I think there's some of that pops up every now and again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Cause like, that is true. Cause like, it's different over there than what it is over there, and what it is over here is different over there. Like, the way we think,
Yeah,
the way, cause
exactly.
like, I used to think everybody was rich in America. I used to think it was the land of paradise, but that's not what it is over there. And that's what the mindset of a lot of foreign people have of America and other places. Because even America, about foreign people, like, they think it's really trashy over there sometimes. But there's a lot of beautiful spots over there. There's litter everywhere. There's a lot of that everywhere. So it's just like trying to put yourself in a different perspective. That's the biggest thing that we all need to
Yeah,
understand, is like
yeah,
putting yourself in their shoes and really diving in deep than just the surface level.
yeah.
But yeah, speaking of not just the surface level, let's talk about the mask men wear. What's the mask you used to wear as a dad? Like, what were you trying to be that wasn't fully you?
I think this is a mask that I fight wearing even every day, even as my children are now adult children, is I wanted to be the dad that had all the answers,
Yeah,
that could do anything, fix anything, solve any problem, have good advice for whatever the issue may be. That is something that I felt like brought stability to my family and to my kids. And I think I was trying to be that way, even though it masked what it really masked were all my insecurities. It masked any thought that I did not know how
yeah,
to solve an issue or to how to have an answer to something or how to fix something. And so I don't know if that was a good thing or not, because that's a mask that I fight every day in my
yeah,
position as a leader. I always want to have the right answer. Always want to be a good example. I always want to do the right thing. And so constantly fighting against myself in maybe something that I want to do that I shouldn't do. It's that whole argument Paul has even in the Bible. Sometimes I do the things I don't want to do, even though I know I shouldn't do the things I want to do, but I want to do the right things because I know that the right things are the right things that I should be doing.
yeah,
And that mask is that I don't want to I don't want to appear like I don't know what I'm doing, especially around my kids, around any of the 4 of you. I wanted to be the strong dad. I wanted to be Superman. In
yeah.
fact,
Super G.
you can remember anytime, and I really got this from my own dad, but anytime we would
Yeah.
make reservations at a restaurant or I would put an order in, they'd say, "What's the name?" Well, what I always say,
What was it?
Superman. I say
Superman. Yes. Oh, I
Superman.
said for that. I was looking about the G you had in the cup with the Superman logo
Yeah.
around it.
Yeah.
Superman, Super
Super
G.
G. Yeah. I always said Superman because really that's what I wanted to be for you guys and
Yeah,
for my wife, for your mom is I wanted to be Superman and to this day I want to be Superman.
yeah. That's real. Thank you for saying that. Because I did see all the work that you put in to be Superman, and you did a good job of that. You little
Well, so as a
superhero.
son, did you ever feel like you had to perform because I was wearing a mask?
Um,
And if you felt like you had to perform, what kind of performing did you feel like you had to be like funny or perfect or strong or athletic, smart? Did you ever feel like you had to perform as a son?
I feel like at the very beginning, maybe the first 2 or 3 years before we make that move to the school, yes, I feel like, yeah, I feel like I had to always do everything right, even though I didn't know what right or wrong was at that time. So it was like a whole different world for me growing up like that. I feel like that was the first like instance, the first year until we made that move, and then we all everything got changed, and we all had to change with it. But that was really the time where I was like, oh, what do I do? What comes next? You know what I'm saying? Because like there was a lot of anger at that time, and I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know what that anger meant, and I don't know if I should I match that anger or should I be submissive to it? And I was never submissive. I was just like, I'm just gonna match anger with anger, and be like the person I'm like looking up to at the time, and was you. You know what I'm saying? So that was like the first year until we made that move. Like, well, not only did we just change our mind, but we moved locations too. So it was just like it changed everything. And I feel like that's really when the growth started happening from everybody's point of view and stuff like that. When we left the country, the isolated country, and got out to that city, that's when like the growth actually started happening for everybody. That's how I looked at it as.
Yeah. I think
But
though when we lived out in the country, it was a good opportunity for us to
oh
grow
yeah,
together
it was
because
for
we
sure
weren't
because I was
distracted by anything.
yeah. Yeah, it was because it was like that was our time that we had as a family to figure out everything about a family from from every angle of it, and we were completely immersed in it, and there was nothing to distract us from getting to know each other. So that was great. And I
Yeah.
feel like that year was
Yeah.
very, very, very important. Like I'm not discrediting how important that year was, but that was certainly like a hard, long building year. Because honestly,
It
now
was.
that I can remember, that was the longest year that I remember ever. Like every other year after that kept going, but that was the longest year I remember being in America. Was I was like, oh my god, I didn't realize that many stuff happened 2014. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
Yeah, but if you
really?
think about it, that was like all your firsts. Your first
Yeah,
everything was in that
yeah,
year. And that was
yeah,
like on the brain spectrum level, that was like an explosion of information coming in all at the time.
yeah. So it was just like,
And
wow.
and you were trying to learn. You were trying to go to school all at the same time.
Yeah, it was just, whew, it was a lot. It was a
It
lot.
was
I
a
do
lot.
not like school, y'all, but it
It was
was
a
a good
lot.
time. So, do you think we ever confuse strength with silence? You know what I'm saying? You mentioned you always wanted to be Superman like that, and then you had to learn that Superman is always in front of everything, but it wasn't always like that. Did you ever used to confuse strength with silence, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think I have grown to understand that strength can be found in silence. There was one time your brother got in really big trouble and we were in the car on the way home.
Yeah,
And at that time we didn't let kids sit in the front seat.
yeah,
It was kind of a privilege to sit in the front seat. Our cars weren't set up for kids to sit in the front seat, but on the way home that day I said to your brother, "You need to sit in the front seat with me on the way home." And he was already like, scared of what was going to happen or because he did something really wrong. And all the way home, and we had like a 45-minute drive. That was when we lived out in the country.
mm-hmm,
I did not say one single word to him about what he had done or about a punishment or anything like that that was going to happen.
mm-hmm,
But because of that silence, he worked through the whole thing. He just kept talking and talking and talking and talking and talking and saying, Dad, say something." And I just didn't have anything to say, honestly. But I wanted to hear kind of how he was going to work through all of that. And by the time we had gotten to the house, he had said, "This is what my punishment should be. This is what I've learned. And
mm,
what do you think you'll decide or whatever?" And I said, "I'll get back to you in a couple of hours." And in that, I think in silence,
yeah,
it helps children to have to work through things on a difficult
mm,
level without having to be carried along through that process.
mm-hmm,
When I was a younger father, silence was not always my choice. I would yell.
yeah,
I would lose my temper and yell. What I learned early on in that is that that would just cause you all to shut down entirely. You would just, shut down.
mm-hmm,
Not that you still didn't process and not that we still didn't, do what we needed to do, but it slowed the process, I think, because
mm-hmm,
I was using anger and volume to be the power, to exert power over my kids. When I learned that that option didn't work for any of the four of you, then I learned how powerful silence was. And most importantly, it allowed me the opportunity to cool down, to get my thoughts together, to really get my heart right before I even spoke any words that would come out of my mouth. And so, yeah, I think sometimes strength can be confused with silence if silence isn't understood in a strong way.
there we go. There we go. That's a good way of putting it right there. I like that. 'Cause you can learn a lot in silence. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
Sometimes silence be the loudest thing ever. So I can
that's
understand
right.
that for sure.
That's right.
Okay, so we're talking about, building, rebuilding, and setting a blueprint and setting the foundation to do things the right way.
Yeah.
Right? Actually, this is just
So
asking.
let me interrupt you on that one.
Yeah.
As you talk about building and rebuilding and the blueprints for your life, what kind of man are you still trying to become?
A more
We've been through my process as a father, right? So
yeah.
what kind of man are you still trying to become?
I would say for me right now, yeah, like the Superman. I like that. So I'm gonna take that Super W or Super B for Baltazar, something like that. I don't know. But I feel like for me, I want to be somebody that's reliable. Somebody
Mm,
that somebody could come up to at any point and they can get the information, the help, the advice, the person, whatever it is, just to chill or go out to a bar and just to talk about their day, their relationship. You know what I'm saying? It's just like I didn't realize that was my role until like honestly this summer when I started doing all this podcast stuff, and like I didn't even realize that I was feeling fulfilling that whole that role until today, really actually. because I've been training. I don't know. I've been really told a lot of people this because this is like my next step of my business. Is right now I'm training a lot of people to blow up on social media, and then one of the first people I've ever trained just bought a car with the information that I provided, which is insane. I've never shared that. You're the only first person to ever hear that. But you know, Vinod, he was a kid in the orphanage with me, and he always hit me up asking about, well, so how do you how do you do this on social media? How can I do the same thing? And he hit me up. He found me on Instagram. He started asking me these questions, and we were good friends. I'm like, okay. He also then said this one thing. He said, Wilson, you do a lot of hard work on social media. He was also one of the first person to realize how much work that goes into just
Yeah.
creating content. And he said, I don't want to do that. I'm too lazy. So how can I do that easier, but still get the same views and the money you do and stuff like that? I'm like, okay, so there's this one content style that is you can just do relatable content. It's really short style. It's like 4 seconds long, but it gets hundreds of views because it's relatable. And he's been doing that for the past 2 years. And this past year, he started making a lot of profit from it. Like he's making close up to 10, 15,000. And then this summer he hit me up, Wilson, like, what do I do next? I'm making a lot of money. Should I get an LLC? Should I create a business account? I'm like, yes, you should. I already have one of myself. Do that and put it all under. And also at the time, he was also day trading. I was doing the same thing with him too. He's in crypto. He's made over $40,000 in crypto. That's not my knowledge. That's his own thing. I don't even know how he did that. Honestly, I have to talk to him about it. But he can't. He hasn't touched that money yet because it has to sit there and grow. But in the
Yeah.
meantime, with the knowledge I brought him, he's been able to make 15, 10,000. And keep in mind, I'm just telling him the stuff that I do on the regular. I'm not saying that just so he could be successful and make a lot of money. It's just like, this is what I do and this is what usually works for me. Do that, push 3 times a day, be consistent and be active. And he's been doing that for 2 years every day. Right now, he averages over 200 million views monthly, every month. And his profit only goes up every month. And the other day, he sent me a picture of the brand new car he just bought. He said, Wilson, I just bought a BMW. He said, I can't believe that I did that. I'm like, oh my God, bro, you deserve that. I'm like, and I was in the kitchen before this call. I was in the kitchen before this call cooking it up. That's why I was late. I was cooking it all up. And I was like, dang, I was just pondering to myself, I can't believe a little orphan boy from Haiti has the knowledge to get somebody to get a brand new car, a BMW like this. It's just insane. I'm like, I can't believe I had a part to play in that. So
Yeah.
it's just like a whole thing is just being reliable.
So not only are you building and rebuilding your blueprint, but you're helping
Yeah,
other people with their blueprints for their life as
yeah,
well.
exactly. He comes to me every day talking up. I ask him about question. I get so mad. I'm like, Bernard, you've been doing the same thing for a year. Why are you coming to me about the same thing? But yeah, he comes to me for reassurance. He comes to me for reassurance, and he's a great guy, hard worker. He quit. He's unemployed, he says, but he's making 30, 40K a month. And I think he's a year younger than me. And it's just insane to me to think that my information, my lack of selfishness did that for him. And I'm like, wow, that's insane. So I'm very
Yeah,
proud of him. It's just like, and that really reassured me that I'm going down the right path of being something that somebody can come to for not just that, but anything. And being an open book
for
with just
sure.
information. It's a great thing. So like, what are you trying to model for young Black boys, for future dads, for other adopted families watching us?
Well, I'll tell you
So
what, and
yeah,
part of my calling, part of what God has done in my life is I'm a teacher. And
yeah.
so I've had students from all over the world. Almost every country of the world I've had students
Oh
in my
yeah, I know.
classroom or in my care or I have worked with and I think it's all modeling the same, right? I want to model the best thing that I can on how I live my life. I want to be a good example. I want to be transparent about the things that I have struggled with or messed up in so that other people can learn and grow from those. And I think
Yeah,
that's what I want to model for dads and future dads is being a dad is hard work mentally and physically and emotionally and spiritually because we carry the weight of all the hearts of those we love on our shoulders. And we also feel like we not only have to carry those hearts on our shoulders, but we have
yeah,
to provide for those and care for them and protect them and make sure that everything is going well for them in their process. And
yeah.
that's something that I'm still learning every single day. Now that all my kids are in their 20s,
Hmm.
it's different being a dad to kids in their 20s than it was to a dad to kids in their teenage years or to kids in their preteen years or their toddler years. You know, it's a completely different life change, you know, right now because of the life that we're in. And so I think for future dads, I want to model a patient, strong, spiritual kind of fatherhood for them. For other adoptive families that are watching us, I want to model the fact that adoption is hard. It's
Mhm.
not easy for the child or for the family that they're going into. But through all the hard work and through everything that you do to make sure that you're bonded together as a family, that the final result is relationship. And we said this in a podcast several podcasts ago, but relationship is the ultimate point in the whole family circle. It's just relationship. I don't ever want to lose relationship with my kids. I don't ever want to lose relationship with my wife. I don't want our family to lose relationship with each other. And so hopefully through our stories, through our experiences, through our mistakes, and through our wins, we're able to be a good model for those other families.
Yeah.
To even think that the Lord would have us in a place where we could be that you could say that I've modeled well is very humbling. All I see are the mistakes, right? Because all I want to do is get better, better, better.
Mhm.
As we're talking, my personal trainer is calling my phone right now, and I'm already thinking about the workout, and I'm already thinking about how to get stronger, and I'm already thinking about, the candy that I ate earlier that I probably shouldn't have eaten today
Mhm.
because I'm trying to model healthy living. In that side of my life, I'm trying to model healthy living as I'm training for the marathon that's
Yeah.
coming up in October. And so it is a constant work in progress, and it'll never be finished. It'll never be finished this side of heaven, and it's the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life, but I've loved every minute of it.
Mm. Clock it. But anyway, tell Taylor to chill. But yeah, that's also thank you for saying all that. But like in a world where you feel like you have to be that kind of man that always has to think about the next thing and be better, where does faith come in when the world says to man up? Like what does that mean?
I think when the world says man up, the world is saying get some courage, get some
Mm.
strength behind you. Mean what you say and say what you mean. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. And every bit of that comes from my faith and foundation. It all comes from my faith. Without my faith is my barometer. My faith is my balance. My faith is my plumb line when it comes to figuring out what is on point and what is off point in my life. Um, Anything outside of that is fake,
Hmm.
and that's the last thing I want to be is fake. I want to be genuine. I want to be authentic. Um, I want to be true to who I am inside and out.
Okay, I like that. Because it's good to listen to the world sometimes when it comes because you don't want to be a person that does not know what's going on in the world and what the world
No,
needs at the
and
time.
I think that's part of growth. I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
that's where the challenge comes from. If you don't listen to those things and
yeah,
digest it in a correct view, then you're
yeah,
just trying to live in ignorance, and that's going to
yeah.
get you nowhere.
And that happens. That's something that's very big right now in our generation, especially my generation. I'm thinking of, well, is that yours too? Is that everybody gets so close minded, and they don't care about what the world thinks, but they have to live in that world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You have to live with people. Like you don't have to agree with the person outside of you, but at the same time, their vote matters, their thoughts matters, the way they move matters, and it affects you whether you want it or not. So it's good to be aware of where the world and the people's mind are at, even though they're not thinking the same way you are. It's good to understand them and to. So that's why I've learned to understand this year. Like just because I have this way of thinking, that means it's not gonna make. It's not the way. It's not the way. It's not the thing the world needs right now. You know what I'm saying? It's not the thing that the person next to me needs right now. So I have to
yeah,
put myself in their shoes. If it need me to man up, I will man up. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like I think it's just leaving. Like what you say is correct. You sometimes you just gotta look into the world and see what the world needs and see what the people around you need, and it's gonna come back and benefit you,
that's right. That's right.
especially tenfold, because you're giving. You know, you're doing
That's right.
something you don't want
That's
to
right.
do. So it's a great way to look at it. Okay, just we about to enter into the final part of this podcast, y'all, and then we got a few more things here we're gonna talk about, and then we're gonna let y'all go. Oh my God, what's something you're proud of me for that I might not even know? That's first one in
There's
there.
there's a lot. There's a lot of things I'm proud of you for that I probably have never said out loud. You've recently gone through a tough situation
Hmm.
with some friends and some colleagues, and
Yeah.
I am so proud of you for the way that you handled it and stood up for people who wouldn't stand up for themselves.
Hmm.
I'm proud of you for that. I'm proud of you for the professionalism and for the way that you've handled that. I'm proud of you for your entrepreneurship abilities. You have just this eye to just try something new and to figure it out. I never would have considered figuring out all the technology to do what you do.
Mhm,
And you have figured it out and you've taught other people how to do it. And other people are being successful because of it.
mhm,
I'm proud of you for that. I'm proud of you for how you deal with your biological family sometimes can be very difficult because they
mhm.
think that you're a multi-billionaire
Yeah,
and that you can just, provide on a phone call's need.
yeah,
And I know how stressful that is on you. And I know
mhm,
how you feel some sense of responsibility for them, but I'm proud of you for the way that you handle it in the way that you do and how you still give them some time in conversation and even working with your biological brother
yeah,
through learning things. I'm proud of you for that. And I'm really proud of you for overcoming the trauma that you've overcome in your life, which most people may never even know or hear the stories that you experienced going from being on the streets in Haiti to a bed in America. That's a lot to overcome. And
mhm,
some people may think that's easy. You came into a nice place. That's not easy. That's a hard thing to do. And
mhm.
you have fought internally and externally to overcome some of those challenges. And it's made you into the man that you are today. And it will continue to be part of your foundation for the future. And so I'm proud of you for that.
Thank you, twin. That was great. Thank you for saying that. It means a lot. I'm gonna watch that clip. I'm gonna clip it.
So
Put
what's
it on my
something that
phone.
you needed to hear from me, even if I haven't said it before?
I think you pretty much all just said it. I think I'm good on that question. I think you just said it because it's good to be seen and heard. You know, it's just good to be
Yeah.
seen, especially for the people you look up to. So yeah, it pretty much sums it up. Is you just see. I feel like parents and well, especially kids, it's good for kids to know that their parents are trying, seeing them trying. You know what I'm saying? So you seeing all of that really reassures me that I'm going the right way. You know what I'm saying? That what I'm actually thinking about doing and doing is going the right way. So it's being
Yeah.
seen. Because a lot back
Yeah.
in the day, a lot of my ideas, I would just be thoughts and like words, and I would do nothing. And now it's just like now that you're seeing them happening and you're able to say them back to me, it's reassuring. So that's pretty much that. You know what I'm saying? Is there me being
Yeah.
is going to the person that I want to be reliable. I want to be a reliable person. It's good to see that I'm going that way. You know, another
Yeah.
perspective of it.
Yeah. I think sometimes in relationship, especially between fathers and sons, not everything is spoken out loud.
Yeah,
The things that we feel in our heart are not always spoken out loud. And so doing this podcast is a good opportunity to share some of those things. Sometimes we don't say it until right when we are asked. And
yeah.
so I appreciate that. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah. Thank you. So this last question is, if I had a son tomorrow, what's one thing you'd hope I pass on?
Well, there's probably 3 things that I hope that you would pass on. The first one is you are an extremely loyal person. You are loyal, true blue to whatever you've committed to or to whomever you've
Yeah.
committed to, almost to your own detriment. Sometimes you're loyal even to your own detriment. And
Mm,
the loyalty part is something that I hope that you will pass on to your son.
mm,
Another thing that you do that I hope you would pass on to your son is you are the most generous person that I know, and you don't even think a thing about it. That's just part of your nature. That's who you are. That's who you were when you were 6 years old and we were visiting you in the orphanage. We would bring you a Coke because you guys didn't get sodas very often, and
mm,
we'd bring you a Coke and you would line all those kids up in the orphanage. And before you would even take your first drink, you'd pour Coke in the cap and feed it to every single. And by the time we got to the end of the line, there wasn't even any Coke left for you, but you were happy because they all got some Coke to drink. So we always hid an extra one on the side after we learned that that's what you would do and said, this one's not to share. This one's just for you. But you're the most generous person, and I hope that that's a trait characteristic that you pass on to your own children. And then I think the final thing is that when you choose to love, you love well, and that is a biblical characteristic, and that is something that I wish that you would pass on to your son and or daughter, whichever
mhm.
comes first.
Oh, whichever comes first. Any, meeny, miny, mo. Oh, I would be happy with whichever one. But thank you for saying that. That is good because I will work. I don't know what kind of dad I'll be, but I'm gonna be a good dad though. I'm gonna be
You
whooping
better
kids
be.
for sure. Not that. That's like one of
That's
the
not what
thing
you
main
used to
time.
say.
That's now I'm not gonna whoop these kids, but I don't know yet. But I guess that's a recurring conversation that comes up with me and my girlfriend. Is like Like if we have kids in the future, how are we gonna discipline them? I'm like, we got to whoop them. I just be saying that jokingly, but at the same time, I'm out to discipline the kid to the nature that
Yeah.
it needs to be. It needs, to be
Well,
disciplined.
and every kid is disciplined in a very different way. You can't
Yeah,
discipline all your kids in the exact same way. It doesn't work that way.
yeah. So yeah, that's why we're gonna get to. That's like years down the picture. So that's a conversation for way down there. So there's other stuff to worry about right now. But let's get to anything about. But yeah, I want to say thank you
You're
for
the
your
one who
work.
asked the question.
That is true. But yeah, I want to say thank you for saying all those words. It was great to have this conversation, and I hope a lot of you guys took a lot from it to learn how to just talk. You know what I'm saying? Just, even when you don't know, like the best way to heal is to just talk. Like you
Yeah,
will figure out what you're feeling and what you're going through if you just start talking. The best way to learn is by teaching what you've known. You know what I'm saying? And every time I teach something about social media to somebody else, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I didn't know I could do that. Wait, oh my God, I could do
yeah,
it faster like that. And it's just like the best way. It works the same way when it comes to your mind and the stuff that you want. It's to just talk about it and talk about it to a bunch of different people because you're gonna get different insights from different points of view. So it was really good to just talk about that conversation with you. Yeah. Let's
agreed.
see.
Me too.
Okay. But anyway, guys, I want to say thank you so much for watching and joining us in this episode. If you know anybody that needs to hear this episode, please free to share everywhere and send them a view and comment. And that's really it. You want to say bye, Dan?
Bye.
Bye.